She still came home, but she no longer returned. Everything looked the same as always. Key in the lock, 6:47 p.m. Coat on the hook. Blanket on the couch. I folded it neatly, not sure why. Habit? Or maybe an attempt to hold on to something that had long been slipping away. I noticed she started coming back later. She said meeting got held up, everything's fine. The words were right. The tone wasn't. In the kitchen, she moved like a guest. I left dinner like before. Napkin, spoon, cup. She ate in silence, sometimes didn't finish. Sometimes didn't touch it at all. And all of it in complete silence, as if we were living in a library where emotions had long handed in their tickets. I watched her fall asleep with her back to me. Sometimes she twitched in her sleep. Sometimes she smiled, but never looked my way when she woke up. When I said good morning, she nodded. Like a cashier nods at a customer they don't want to smile at. I didn't know what exactly she was losing, but I knew it wasn't mine anymore. Not her body. Not her thoughts. Not this home. Only a shadow that appeared for a moment in the doorway and then vanished. At first, I thought she was just tired. Then that she was avoiding me. And one day, I noticed she no longer turned on her favorite lamp in the corner. She used to light it every evening, a yellow circle of warmth like a pie from childhood. Now darkness. As if that corner no longer meant anything to her. I began counting her steps. Not because I suspected anything, but because there was nothing else left. 6:52 bathroom. 7:11 in the kitchen. 7:23 silence. It was as if she disappeared between the walls. Physically close. Emotionally millions of miles away. The contrast became too loud. She was here, but she was gone. And then one day I saw her staring out the window. For a long time. Not with love. Not lost in thought. More like someone looking at a train that left without them. As if the life she wanted was out there beyond the glass. And here was just a pause. I understood. She still came home, but she no longer returned. She started hiding her phone, not even pretending not to. It used to lie on the table, or on the charger. Just existed. Like a spoon in the kitchen. Like an old blanket on the chair. Now it was part of her body. Bag, pillow, palm, always screened down. As if even the screen was afraid to meet my eyes. I noticed. Every time. Every morning when she left, the phone disappeared with her. And at night, it came back empty with no trace. One day, it lit up in the bathroom. The light felt wrong, like someone else's apartment. The rhythm, not work, not a friend, not family. A name popped up, almost by accident. Mark? She closed the door. Slowly. Almost gently. Like you close someone's eyes as they sleep so they don't wake up. Her laughter had changed. It used to come from within, sometimes even awkward, but real. Now light, rehearsed like a perfume ad. Laughter that didn't live at home. It drifted somewhere out there, among messages where I no longer existed. I didn't make a scene. I just watched invisibility become a daily thing. I wanted to say, you're leaving. But instead I stood up, walked to the living room, and turned on the TV. The voices from the screen were fake, but at least they were honest in their fakeness. An open home. Closed screens. An open kitchen. Closed eyes. I wasn't looking for proof. I was learning how to be silent. Every pause between words a rehearsal for loneliness. I folded those pauses like letters I would never send. Everything became quiet. Even the washing machine sounded like an apology. Even the wind outside no longer called me home. When a person leaves, they first disappear from conversations. Then from glances. And then from rooms even while still physically in them. She no longer erased the traces. She just stopped thinking it was worth hiding them. She came home late. And didn't smell like herself. I heard the key turn in the lock. Unhurried. Calm. As if everything was fine. Even though it hadn't been fine for a long time. I didn't look at the clock anymore. But I still knew it was late. The body remembers even when you stop asking. She entered easily. Dropped her bag in the hallway, slipped off her heels. Said, I'm tired. Her voice was calm. Almost lazy. But her face wasn't. Her face looked caught between a dance and a kiss. Not the glow of exhaustion. But the radiance of someone's gaze. Or someone's hands. The scent hit immediately. Sharp. Cloying. Young. Not hers. Not ours. Not the one that hides in her scarves in winter. Not the one that lingered in the pillows. This was someone else's choice. Which meant someone else's gift. I walked up to her. Just out of habit. My hands moved on their own like they used to. To hold. To keep. To make sure she was still here. She stepped back. Almost imperceptibly. Almost gently. But I noticed. The body always knows when it's no longer welcome. Later, when the house grew quieter. I found her scarf, carelessly folded as if thrown off in a rush. It smelled like that scent. I held it for a long time, my nose pressed into the fabric, as if trying to figure out whose car it had been in, whose hands had touched it, what hour of the evening it had stopped being mine. I didn't get angry. There was no shouting, no questions. I just turned on the washing machine, put the scarf inside, closed the lid, and pressed start. Sometimes a lie smells too loud to speak of it out loud. I knew, but I didn't accuse, because sometimes silence isn't weakness. It's a diagnosis. I didn't hand her the truth. I simply stopped taking the lie. Sundays used to be ours. Now just a pause between her absences. We used to wake up together. She would lazily stretch toward me as if there was no rush. We'd make toast, bring the blanket out to the balcony, watch the city breathe more slowly on Sundays. Those were our 24 hours outside of everything. Now she wakes up earlier, quietly, without turning on the light, as if she's afraid of waking not me but a memory. That morning she left without makeup, in a hoodie, hair tied up carelessly. She said, "I'm going for a walk." I nodded, though I didn't understand. The weather was gray. Her mood wasn't. She came back later. Her lips were glossy, like she hadn't been drinking coffee but kissing it. Her eyes were shining too, not from tiredness. I asked, "How was your day?" She replied, "Just needed some fresh air." A phrase like an air freshener sounds nice but doesn't smell like the truth. I noticed the cup from a cafe. Brown lid, cinnamon around the rim. She used to hate cinnamon. Now it seemed to bring some kind of comfort. Apparently not mine. I saw the receipt. In the trash. The name of a place I had never been. But she had. Not alone. Sometimes she brought home 2 cups. One with milk. One with syrup. I didn't ask. I just watched one stay half full and then disappear. I was afraid to ask, "Who were you with?" Because if she said, "No one," it would be a lie. But so gently wrapped, it would be scarier than the truth. Shared time had become just a formality. We still lived by the same schedule, but took different routes. She was already living another life. She just didn't tell me. Maybe not to hurt me, or maybe because I wasn't part of her silence anymore. Just the background to it. Sometimes it's not losing someone that's scariest, but continuing to share Sundays with them. When she finally said it, it didn't hurt, because I'd heard it before, only without words. She stood in the doorway, shoulders down, voice quiet but clear. Not scared, not determined, just tired. Like she'd been carrying it inside for too long, and now just wanted to set the weight down beside her. "I need to tell you something," she began. "I had an affair." I nodded, not because I was surprised, but because that's what you do in moments like these. A gesture, like a period at the end of someone else's sentence. "You knew?" she asked. I looked at her calmly, and said, "Yes. I was just waiting for you to decide it was over." She cried, not hysterically, not with sobs, quietly, as if from the inside, as if what little remained human in her was crying. I didn't go to her, didn't hold her, didn't try to soothe her. I didn't know what for anymore. My grief was old, seasonal. I had already lived through it in silence. Back when she was hiding her phone, when she came home late, when she called me babe while looking into my eyes, and then called someone else the same without looking at all. Now this was just the formal closing, a signature under something long since lived through. Her tears and my dryness. 2 different timelines in one conversation. Sometimes pain dies before love, and love before the words. She packed her things in an hour. I watched, not interfering. It happened without shouting, without slamming doors, without a final remember when. She just packed, quietly, as if afraid to wake the memories, as if the wardrobe might come to life, and remind her that we once existed. I didn't stop her. I didn't help. I just sat at the edge of the bed, where once there were conversations, hands, laughter, and now only a suitcase and a shadow. She folded everything carefully, even the shirts I once picked out for her myself, with that foolish excitement, as if a gift could save a relationship. It can't, but she still packed them with respect, as if saying goodbye not to me, but to the moments when we were still honest. She left a note. Short. I didn't read it right away. Let it sit, like the last line of a poem, one you have to approach slowly. When she left, it became quiet. Not deafening, not frightening, just even. I opened the closet. The emptiness inside was cleaner than I expected. Free, not sad. On one hanger, my shirt remained. Blue linen, the one I wore when we once visited her parents. I ran my hand over the fabric, and suddenly I felt I was breathing. Not loudly. Not with relief. Just calmly. The house became quiet. But the silence no longer hurt. I ate breakfast slowly. Not because I was sad, but because there was no rush. For the first time, I wasn't waiting for the door to open and someone to say I just got held up. The faucet dripped. The clock ticked. A draft stirred the corner of the curtain. And in all of that, nothing happened. But inside, peace finally did. I wasn't waiting for messages. I didn't check the sound on my phone. No one lied. No one waited for explanations. No one placed a dot at the end of a sentence that was a lie. I gathered the old photos. The ones where we were still together. Smiling. Drinking coffee. Somewhere by the sea. I didn't throw them away. Just put them in a drawer. Not in a fit of rage. Not in tears. Just because they weren't needed anymore. Sometimes I remembered her laugh. It was beautiful. It was mine. Until it became someone else's. Now it's just a sound. Like a song I once played on repeat. And now I just skip it. Sometimes silence isn't emptiness. It's a sign that all the unnecessary things are gone. I saw him once. He didn't know who I was. But I knew he was already leaving. It was by chance. A spring evening. The sidewalk near the bookstore. Where she once picked out a gift for me. Now with him. He held a coffee. One cup. She her phone. Between them, 2 steps. Not a hand. Not a glance. Not even silence. Just absence. I stood across the street. In twilight, faces lose their sharpness. But gestures grow louder. He said something. She didn't look up. Then she stopped. As if she remembered she wasn't meant to be there. Said something brief. Turned. And walked away. He stayed. With the same cup. With the same expression. He didn't go after her. I didn't feel rage. There was no urge to walk over. No jealousy. Just confirmation. It wasn't the end of their story. It was an attempt. Brief. Lacking real depth. Burned out faster than our marriage. Because it never had the chance to become more than a pause between our separate worlds. I watched him walk away. Alone. And there was no satisfaction in it. Only a quiet understanding. We were both just layovers on her journey that wasn't meant for us. Time passed. I don't wait. I'm not afraid. I just live. Mornings became lighter. Not brighter, not louder, just lighter. As if someone removed a weight from the air. I bought new mugs. Blue. Without subtext. No birthdays. No anniversary gifts. Just mugs. And the coffee in them still tastes good. On weekends I read. Not out of loneliness. Just because I can. The silence is still here. But now it doesn't scratch. Now it's like a wall no one touches. And doesn't need to. She wrote. Short. No punctuation. I'm sorry. I read it. Wasn't surprised. Didn't get angry. And didn't reply. Because everything that could be said. We already said. With silence. With distance. With gestures that stopped happening. I'm not waiting for a new love. I'm not looking for excuses. I don't live inside that old wound. I simply reclaimed myself. And that is enough. Sometimes forgiveness isn't a message. It's realizing you're no longer waiting for one.